Bruchim Abayim, good morning, Morai Rabotai. We're continuing Ashur Charuch Arachaim, Halchot Shabbat, Hilchot Kiddush in Siman Resh Ayin Bet, and we're holding up to Seif Chet and Daf Nun Amud Bet of the regular prints of your Mishna Beruras. Maran writes, Mekadeshin al Yayin Mevushal, Val Yayin Sheyesh Po Dvash. You could say Kiddush on cooked wine, Yayin Mevushal, and also on Yayin that has been sweetened with honey or sugar. V'yesh omrim, and there are those who are stringent, says Maran, and they hold that no, you cannot do that. V'yesh omrim she'en mekadeshin aleihim. Now this is a machloket that's brought by the Tur already, in the name of the Balai Tur, to be the main halacha that you can be lenient to say Kiddush on it. This is the Shita of the Tosafot and the Rosh, and it's brought in Yerushalmi. Really, is considered the dat of the Talmud Yerushalmi, and it's brought again by many Rishonim, the Ran and others. On the other hand, the Tur brings from Rabbeinu Shemaya and the Ritzkiat and of High Gaon, even the time of the Gaonim, and the Rambam, that you can't. The Shita is known really as the Shita of the Rambam. That's how people would say it. I want to be machmir like Rambam, to have yain that's not mevushal, it's not sweetened, and so on and so forth, which we'll get to discuss in just a moment. It's known as Shitat Rambam, but really is earlier on. It's already known as the Shita of the Gaonim, the Riskiat and the Rav Hai Gaon versus other Rishonim. Now, the simple understanding of Maran seems over here to be that you could say An Yain Mevushal, and that's Stam V'yesh. Halacha is always like the Stam, and the Ramah tops that off by saying Haminhak lekadesh alav afilu yesh lo yain acher. It says even if you have a non-mevushal wine, you can still lechatchila do on yain mevushal, and that's the minhag, says the Ramah, given, provided that the other wine that's non-mevushal is not as good as this one. She'eno tov kemo mevushal or sheyesh bo dvash. So then you could say, even lechatchila, you could choose to say the kiddush on yain mevushal. Fine. So what exactly is the halacha as we speak about this? Says, well, we mentioned this before, by the way, that even those who are not mevushal, right? Those wines who are not mevushal, mostly they're pasteurized. Outside of a very small sliver of cold pasteurization, the FDA would not okay a wine that has not been pasteurized. It has to be pasteurized somehow. So if it hasn't been cold pasteurized, it's been heat pasteurized. And that, according to many poskim, is considered mevushal as well. And on the other hand, according to the Rashba and the Ran and many others, even the mevushal process that we have nowadays is not really mevushal. So you have both sides of the spectrum pretty widened by different machloket rishonims. So whatever you do, so to speak, you have what to rely on. And if you really want to be, let's say, everyone, then you have to make your own wine in your backyard or in your attic or in your garage. And then you will have actual wine that, according to everyone, you could be yotze. There are those who do that, but again, according to many, the wine is kasher the way we have it, provided the basic parameters that we have mentioned before. So therefore, have a wine that is pleasant and you like. And Baruch Hashem, nowadays you have many options to choose from. It used to be, I'm old enough to remember the time that there was like two types of wine in the stores. It was like a heavy red Malaga, and then it was a super heavy. That was the wines that you would have, and you would have headache until a month afterwards. But nowadays you have, every wine comes with a pillow and blanket and a history book and a box. So you have many different options to choose from. You could get something that you actually enjoy, especially on Yom Tov. That's a mitzvah of oneg Yom Tov. You don't want to have something that does not give you oneg, but nevertheless, down to the halacha, you have what to rely on as far as mevushal is concerned over here. Certainly, according to the basic understanding of Maran and Ramah. Now, you pay attention, of course, that according to the Kaf HaChaim and those who are with him, that you always have to be concerned about the Yesh Omrim in the Shulchan Aruch. Over here, it would be indicating that lechatchila you should be looking for a yayin that's not mevushal and not sweetened either. Now, by the way, not every semi-sweet wine means it has been sweetened. Sometimes it's just a different process of fermentation and a different type of grapes that has been used in order to make that wine. So that's a chokhmah by itself. You have to look into each case for itself. Or sometimes they add, in order to higher the level of the alcohol, they add some grape juice from concentrate as the content of sugar is higher, and that you could ferment it further to create more higher level of alcohol. Depending if you let it ferment or not, then it could be semi-sweet. Many things could be done with wine. It has become a very sophisticated science and is something to look into. So it says the Mishna Berura over here, Al yayin mevushal, sevir ala dali de kol ze, ein mishtane hayayin legriuta. Even after cooking, it doesn't become worsened the quality. Vayashomrim sevir ala hu de mishtane legriuta. And the shitat hamachmirim, the Rambam and the Rav Gaon, they hold that cooking actually degrades the wine from its quality. And you don't even say bur pragefen on yayin mevushal. You would say shakol according to the Rambam on yayin mevushal. So that's already all the way to be machmir. Sheyesh bodvash ke'en konditon shnasam yayin udvash upilpelin. It's a drink that is from a mixture of wine and pepper and honey. So that, of course, will be pasul for saying kiddush on it, according to the Rambam. According to the first shita in Shulchan Aruch, still is kasher, despite the fact that the smell has changed and the taste has been altered as well. So that's that would be the Shulchan Aruch in Stam versus the Yesh Omrim. Now,
the Rambam holds it, changes the bracha. Why does it become a suffix bracha?
because don't pass on that Rambam.
Not even to consider making it a suffix.
No, Safek bracha is when you have a question whether to say bracha or not. Here is what to say, right? So don't pass like the Rambam. Now, again, Shulchan Aruch earlier on in Siman Reshbet already paskins that on Yain Mevushal you say Bor Geffen. That's not in Chod Brachot in Siman Reshbet. We already have had this discussion in the very beginning of the Siman that in Seif Aleph. Shulchan Aruch paskins that you say Bor Geffen, and Kaf HaChaim actually addresses this, that even though there are those who say that you should say Shakol, you don't say Safek Brachot Neged Maran. You don't say that. It's not that, because that's only when the machloket is whether to say bracha or not. Here you have to say bracha. The question is what to say, and that we paskin like Maran Shulchan Aruch, and that's basically the end of that, right? Now, go after Rov Shitot. Harabadia actually speaks about this. This is the Kaf HaChaim. Harabadia in She'elot U'Tshuvot Chazon Obadia, in Siman Zayin, we spoke about Siman Vav last time. Now in Siman Zayin, he actually discusses this very topic, and he disagrees with the Kaf HaChaim in many of its elements, but he agrees at the end that we don't say Safek Brachot Lakel because um, according to everyone, if you said Bar Gefen, you're Yotze. That's how he sees it. According to everyone, you're going to be B'diavad Yotzes. Therefore, you're not lying with the bracha of saying Bar Gefen, and you'll be therefore fine with this question. However you slice it, whether like the Kaf HaChaim or like the Chazon Obadia, you'll be fine. But to say Kiddush on Yain Mevushal in bracha is one thing, but to say Kiddush on it, you should say Safek B'chol La'akel. You should come back, because even though that you're not meshaker by saying a gefen, but the bracha of Kiddush was nitkan on the bracha of Mekadesh Shabbat. It was nitkan on wine or bread. We're saying if you're not doing it on bread, you're doing it on this. You can't pick up a cup of water, and say gefen and the bracha of Kiddush on it. And the Kaf HaChaim also there in Siman Resh Bet brings this issue up, that you have not just, and here also the Kaf HaChaim says it, that it's not only an issue for Safek Brachot for what to say bracha on, but it's an issue of whether or not you can say Kiddush on it, right? So he says you should look l'chatchila after wine that is not mevushal. But again, that doesn't come as a surprise. Even Or Etzion here says the same thing, because we already expect the Kaf HaChaim, the Chesed Alafim, the Or Etzion, the Ben Ish Chai, all of them, that they follow the Yesh Omrim of the Shulchan Aruch very seriously. They would of course hold that it is l'chatchila to find a yain that's not mevushal, right? But again, Harvadia there in the same place, he says it's not something to concern yourself necessarily. You have a suffix feka. Maybe halacha is like rov rishonim, that you could say kiddush even on yain mevushal, and even if you say that you can't say kiddush on yain mevushal, maybe this is not considered mevushal. Right, because we already mentioned that there are many Rishonim who hold that mevushal is only when you boiled it and boiled it and boiled it until the taste is different, until you see the volume diminished clearly. So that's going to be the case, but not in a regular yayin mevushal. So Chacham this is you could say kiddush on it, no problem, right? Fine. Again, is it weird for someone to be machmir? Absolutely not. If you have no problem having a yayin she'enu mevushal, you don't have anyone that's mechalel Shabbat around the table, and so on. You want to have a yayin that's not mevushal, a grape juice that's not mevushal, gesund rehit, as they say. Be my guest. That's the best way of being yotze and satisfying all the shitot. But do you have to? The answer is no. Especially for a person that has guests who may or may not be fully shomer Shabbat, you definitely would want to have a yain mevushal to cover all your bases, right? Now, we spoke already once before about yain mefustar, the pasteurized wine, which again, the pasteurization process, whether or not is considered mevushal or not. So Chacham Ben Zion Abba Shaul, we mentioned this before, that there are those poskim who hold that even pasteurization process is considered mevushal, and Chacham Ben Zion is one of those who's mekel to hold, well, mekel for, it will be mekel for having it been touched by non-shomer Shabbat. It's machmir that he holds that you can't even use yain mefustar for kiddush according to the Yesh Omrim of the Shulchan Aruch, right? So you would have to, according to him, you would have to go find those expensive wines that are cold pasteurized, which will, again, to satisfy it, it will be not just getting a yain that's not mevushal, because all the non-mevushal ones also are pasteurized, at least in the United States, and therefore he holds that doesn't help. Again, this is another scenario in which Chacham Obadia disagrees with him, not in this time, not in Shut Chazon Obadiahu, but here in Shut Yechavedat. Chacham Obadia disagrees with it in Chelek Bet, Siman Lamed Hey. He writes that according to Maran Shulchan Aruch, Yain Mevushal is kasher for Kiddush, for Havdalah, and therefore you could have even grape juice that is pasteurized, and there's no problem with that. You could say Bor Pregefen on it, and it's kasher for Kiddush and Havdalah as well. And again, he writes this more than once. He writes in the Abia Omer as well. So that is the gist of this cooked wine versus pasteurized wine. Shulchan Aruch and Ramah seem to be mekel, and again, there are those who are concerned about the Yeshomrim of the Shulchan Aruch to be lachatchila at least machmir. So if you can, tavo alav bracha for sure is a nice thing to do, but it has to be with measures. You know, if someone wants to be machmir and then the family doesn't understand it and they're not Shema Shabbat, and now he's not letting them touch anything because he wants to be machmir, and so then, you know, on this we always say there's yesh machmir, yesh chamor. You know, you don't want to be. You want to, if you want to be machmir, it has to be with measures. Like, you know, that's the something to be mindful of. Fine. So, what is the level of sugar that you could have, or honey in this case, that you could have, and it still would be kasher? So, the halacha would be that even up to a third of dvash that you put in, still could say kiddush on it, even though that wine that you put dvash in it will be pasul for nesachim, because it says chol dvash lo takribu ishel Hashem, right? You can't put dvash on the mizbeach. This is not rendering the wine pasul, right? Because it's not because of the low quality of the wine that it is pasul. It's because of an addition that he has. So the wine still would be kasher for kiddush. A wine that's pasul is a wine that is so low quality that because of its low quality could not be brought to the mizbeach. So you see the difference. So you'll have a scenario in which your wine is pasul for being used for nesachim and still is kasher for kiddush, because it's not a low quality wine. It could be a very expensive, high quality wine. It's just that now we have in yeshivot, in lamdut, we call it arya de isura reviale. It has an isur for a different reason that is attached to it, not because the wine itself was not good and was not a high quality. Okay. Now again, the Yerushalmi says this. The Yerushalmi that we mentioned in the beginning says that you could use for arba kosot this kunditon, which is yain plus pepper plus dvash plus honey. You can still use it for arba kosot, which one of them is the cup of kiddush, of course, and that would be the ikar halacha. Fine. So that is as far as Seif Chet is concerned. Seif Tet, Maran writes, "B'makom she'en yayin matzui." If you're in a place that there's no wine, what are you gonna do when you don't have wine? You have kosher wine. You're stuck somewhere. You forgot to bring wine. You went to an Airbnb in Yehopetzville, spending a Shabbat, and the husband thought the wife brought the wine. The wife thought the husband is in charge of alcohol, and is stuck without wine, without kosher wine. So what do? Right? Yesh omrim, says the Shulchan Aruch, shemikadeshin ad shchar. There are those who say you could say kiddush on shnaps. Right? You could say it on shchar. On shchar usually means shchar seorim, which is beer. Right? So there are those who say you could say kiddush on shchar, on beer. Ushar mashkim, and not only that, but any other drink outside of water. Can't say on water, right? You can say on any other drink, ve'yesh omrim, and the second yosh omrim is no, you cannot do on everything. Of course, water not, but you can't say on just about everything. She'en mekadeshin, that you can't say kiddush on anything else. Now, that's the simple understanding, right? Now, the Shulchan Aruch says, Ulaharosh, according to Rabbeinu Asher, B'layla lo yikadesh al shchar. You can't say kiddush of Leil Shabbat, you cannot say on beer or anything else. El alapat. If you don't have wine, you take the challah, you wash netilat yadayim, you sit down, right? You say, or you stand up rather. You say Vaychul Hashemayim v'aretz v'chotzavam, the whole thing, and you say Amotzi lechem min haaretz, and then you continue with Mekadesh Shabbat, and you sit down and you take a piece and you eat. So you just use bread, the challah, instead of wine.
You don't say pork belly.
Say again?
You don't say pork belly.
No, you don't have wine.
You don't have anything.
You say Amotzi, and you say Brachav Kiddush afterwards, and that's how you say Kiddush. And that's the halacha. Uba Boker, says the Rabbeinu Asher, in the morning, Yoter Tov Lekadesh Al Ashchar. Better to say Kiddush on beer than to say on pat, because there is no bracha of Mekadesh Shabbat. So how are you going to say Kiddush? Wash your hands and Tlat Yadayim, sit down, and say Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Where is the Kiddush? It doesn't look like Kiddush because you have no extra bracha. So says Rabbeinu Asher, the best is to say Kiddush on Shchar, Shevarech alav Sha'akol, you say Sha'akol on it, but the fact that you're saying it on a cup and you're saying it before Hamotzi, it shows that it is a special bracha that you're saying for Kiddush Hayom, with the psukim attached to it of Al Ken Brach Hashem et Yom HaShabbat v'Kadasheu, and so on and so forth. According to Ashkenazim, according to Sfaradim, you have more psukim of Im Tashim Shabbat Raglecha, and so on and so forth. So it says the no, we'll get to that. So the example of the Shulchan Aruch is shchar. The halacha would be you could do, as we'll see in just a moment, you could do on anything that's considered Chamar Medina. What is Chamar Medina? Right? That's $1 million question. Chamar Medina means a drink that is popular in that city, and it is a sign of chashivut. Right? That means you sit on over a meeting with somebody to have that. You serve that, and that's considered okay, right? So Moshe Feinstein, for instance, says, well, beer, yes, arak, yes, Coke, no, he says, right? He says Coke is not a respectful drink. You don't serve to somebody Coke in a thing. It's not. It's to quench your thirst or to get caffeinated and to cool off your body a little bit. It's not like tea or coffee that is considered like an important drink that you serve to someone, or even maybe yesh ladun nowadays on orange juice. Maybe there is what to talk about, and so on. Again, it has to be meeting these two requirements of being Chamar Medina, a popular drink, and something that's bekavod. Something that is. That's why water is not, according to everyone, is not good, because even though that your life may depend on water, but it's not a respectful drink. It's not something that you serve to people. You drink it because you're thirsty, and that's about it.
So what about if you have only Coke, you don't have any beer?
So let's first get to discuss this, because that by itself is machloket. Says the Shulchan Aruch, according to the Rash, Baboker in the morning, better to say the Kiddush on shchar, on beer, shevarech alav sha'akol, kodem birkat hamotzi, before you say hamotzi, sheim yivarech alav pat, because if you just say bracha on pat, on the bread, en kan shum shinu, you didn't change anything, it's not noticed that you are saying Kiddush, but divrei ta'amim, Maran Shulchan Aruch says, Rosh makes a lot of sense. So he basically paskins like the Rosh, and says the Ramah v'chel minhag, and that is taka the minhag, kedivrei Rosh, ve'im yayin ba'ir, and if you do have wine in town available, you happen to not have it, but it is available in town, lo yekadesh alapat. You should not forego the kiddush on wine and say the kiddush on challah, on pat, right? You go get wine. And someone that has made a neder, I am not drinking any alcohol, any wine included, because he wants to control his alcohol intake, whatever, for whatever reason, he's made a neder. In that case, Yachol, he can indeed say the kiddush, lekadesh alav, v'ishtu acharim hamesubim imo. You could say it's still kiddush on wine and give it to somebody else that was mechaven to be yotze to drink it, right? That is fine in the kiddush of the night. V'im en acharim imo, and if there are no one else is with him, yikadesh alapad, then you should not do that. You should just say kiddush on bread, v'lo al hayayin, and not on wine. Or yishma kiddush machirim, or you should listen to kiddush from other people to be yotze and not say it yourself, which again brings us to a discussion which is longer than the time that we are allotted for now. So we'll, Be'ezrat Hashem, continue this discussion in the days to come. Hazaku Baruch.